On this episode of Law Weekly, we look at issues of jurisdiction or forum shopping by parties, especially in political cases. We have the views of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chief Ladi Williams. Also showing on this episode of the program, lawyers condemn the poor state of infrastructure at the Lagos High Court, Tafawa Balewa Square, plus a recap of the top trending legal stories. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Shola Shoyeli. The leadership tussle in the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, is just one of many cases that have seen parties crisscross from one court to the other in what lawyers call forum shopping. Issues of which court has jurisdiction to hear certain suits has got lawyers divided, with some arguing that the High Court or the Federal High Court is the same, irrespective of where it's sitting. But what does the law say? Is it true that by going from court to court till you get a favorable decision, a party has legally done nothing wrong? My guest, Chief Ladi Williams, is well known as the eldest son of late legal icon Chief Rotimi Williams. He has almost 50 years of legal expertise in litigation and commercial law. He was called to the bar in 1972 and conferred with the rank of SAN in 1995. He was appointed as a member of the Constitutional Drafting Committee in 1988. These are his views on issues of jurisdiction, forum shopping, and more.
I'm glad that you conjoined it with jurisdiction. If the court we are talking about is Federal High Court, it's a Federal High Court is one court, notwithstanding the fact that you have it spread all over the Federation. Federal High Court is one court. It is State High Court that has its jurisdiction limited to the state. You see, for example, you have the High Court of Yobe State. Its powers are limited to Yobe. But if it is Federal High Court sitting in, I think it's Damaturu, it has nationwide jurisdiction because it's a Federal High Court. So if you go to a Federal High Court that sits in Zamfara State, its jurisdiction covers the entire country. Now, it depends on the subject matter of the case. If it is a case on which the Federal High Court has exclusive jurisdiction, then it won't matter. But if it's a case in which the State High Court has exclusive jurisdiction, for example, you will not take matrimonial causes to Federal High Court. You understand? So, but I know what you mean, that sometimes you do have lawyers who, when they look at the judge sitting in a particular jurisdiction, irrespective of a particular case, they would want that case to be taken out of that state to another state, and even within the state, where they think that they'll get a more favorable judgment. Sometimes they do that. I don't subscribe to it. But you see, our judges too have to change. That's the honest truth. They have to change. Like I explained, it all depends on the subject matter. If the subject matter is a matter which is within the exclusive jurisdiction of the Federal High Court, like currency, petroleum, and so on and so forth, then it is within the jurisdiction of Federal High Court.
But hasn't time come that when we see a judgment that we know that this is not, there's been other considerations other than law, but instead of the NJC say they are waiting for a petition, can they just act on it without waiting for a petition, a formal complaint that this judgment was, obtained other than by the merits of the case?
Yes, that is because the NJC is not proactive. For them to act, there has to be a complaint before them, before they can act. You follow me? So, unless there is a petition before the NJC, they will not just dabble into anything. Somebody has to bring it to their notice. Ask 10 lawyers out of 20. Majority of them will tell you that our judges are usually compromised. I've tried to disabuse people's mind from it until I was a victim myself, you know. So our judges need to change their ways. And when I say our judges, I don't mean each and every one of them is doing the wrong thing. No. Some of them are very good, very brilliant. They can hold their own in any society. But I would say for every 5 judges, 2 have a problem. And what motivates such judges is money. They don't care whether APGA is winning or APC is winning. No, it is money.
So did that love for the money that makes them do those things? Is it as a result of the poor remuneration, or just that the person is just inherently bad?
You have to start from the fact that there is no salary earner who can tell me that he's satisfied with the pay he's getting, because there will always be unexpected situation where you have to spend money beyond your salary, and the banks will not be forthcoming to give you a loan. That is why many people go into business. We have so many lawyers, doctors going into tailoring, construction industry, and or having a shop on the side. So even if you increase the salary, it can never be enough. You know, unless the government themselves put certain things in place. Who doesn't want to build his own house? Who wants to be a tenant forever? So we need to look into all these issues. It is much more complex than one political party moving from court to court, you know, like you put it, forum shopping. It's not as simple as that. What motivates them to do that? It is not because when they leave Anambra and go to Yobe, it is not because there are better judges in Yobe. No. Or the judges in Anambra, where they are coming from, are poorly trained. We all went to law school. You see? But it is believed that if the case is heard in Anambra, the chances are that APGA will win, because it's a grassroots party in Anambra. So that's the mentality.
Some people blame politicians for manipulating the system, but there's also something to be said about your colleagues, lawyers, and especially senior ones at that, who some people say are the intermediaries, because when you say that maybe a judgment, we don't understand the outcome of a judgment and we think that it's been influenced by something other than law, that maybe there have been other considerations. People say that it's the lawyers who are used by politicians to bribe the judges. And so when you talk about the integrity of the judiciary, we also need to talk about the role of the lawyers. What do you think?
You know, corruption is a personal thing. If you're a good Christian or a good Muslim, you know it is wrong, so you shouldn't do it. If you are somebody who is satisfied with the little that the Almighty God has given him, then why do you want to play games? With these political cases, there is a lot of money involved. If you are an ordinary person today, and you win an election, you become a governor, you are automatically a billionaire. Because all kinds of machinery to make money is available to you. So that is why it is so bitterly and keenly fought. And that is why our people, they smell a rat. You know, so maybe we need to make it a rule that, notwithstanding the fact that the matter is a federal high court matter, it should be heard in the state where the case arose. But then that would mean an amendment to the Constitution. You see? So that is one way I'm looking at it. When we talk about restructuring, these are some of the things that some of us think should be done.
Where do you stand on the debate of whether we need a brand new constitution or whether this constitution that we currently have can be amended? Because some people have said, well, we didn't give to ourselves this constitution, that so an amendment will not work. What we need is a brand new constitution.
The starting point is this. Did the people of Nigeria meet before this constitution came into being? The answer is no. The answer is no. In the 1979 constitution, there were elections. People actually met and they debated. But this particular one, we never met. We never met. And that is why people say it is fraudulent. A document that tells a lie about itself is a fraudulent document. Simple. So we need to do more than adjustments. But having said that, we have to bear in mind that there are some federations where each state has its own constitution. And I think maybe that is what we must really go to at this point. Yes, I would say my own stand is that we should just do away with this present constitution. But the other problem is that any governor or councillor or president who is sworn into office under this constitution has to swear to defend and protect the constitution. So how do you get out of that? You see? So we are really in a logjam.
What solution can you suggest?
The politicians have to come off their white horses and accept that, okay, we will do away with this particular constitution. In drawing up a new one, we have to make up our mind. What type of constitution do we need? Are we going to stay united as one nation? Because this issue that I think is somewhere in the constitution that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. We have seen that it has to be negotiated or renegotiated. You've seen it. You see, obviously. The other thing is that when we do that, we need to have an election. We need to have plebiscite to know which way forward. Do we want the present component of Nigeria to stay? Do we want it peacefully emphasized, split up into various components as agreed by the people of the country? So we need our political scientists to know the way to formulate these questions for the people. I can safely tell you that there have been some other countries that have been in a similar condition as ourselves. Take UK, United Kingdom, that created us. Scotland, till tomorrow, would rather be on their own, separate ways. Canada, the French-speaking part, would rather stay on their own, but it's still a federation. Cameroons, they are killing each other. They've even formed the Ambazonia country, excised from southern Cameroons, because those ones are speaking English, the other part are speaking French. Then take the Balkan states. So what I don't want for this country is for us to go through another civil war, like the last one, which is most unfortunate. Fellow Africans killing each other, brothers killing brothers. So if we are going to split it, if it's going to make us happier, then we should go ahead, sit down, just draw the map, get I think they call them cartographers, let them draw up the map. And if Ogun State, for instance, wants to go with Yobe State, so be it. On a serious note, I think that we need to review the Constitution.
Now, away from that interview, some senior lawyers have been speaking about the inadequate space at the Lagos High Court, Tafawa Balewa Square. 10 months after the EndSARS protest, lawyers say files still remain lost, with many lawyers still asked to refile and apply for temporary physical files at a time the judiciary should be applying more of e-filing. Law Weekly was at the court, but officials of the court likely prevented us from filming. Two senior lawyers, however, share their views on the situation of things at the court.
Since the EndSARS protest and the consequent burning of the State High Court, Igboshiri, the High Court has not been the same. It has affected a number of things, including the progress of cases, including the efficiency of delivery in terms of registry work, even in terms of the judges' work. A number of judges lost a lot of materials to the unfortunate event. As a person, I see it as the greatest calamity that has ever befallen our judiciary in this country. The High Court of Lagos State is not just a high court, it has become an archive of a sort, holding colonial documents, post-colonial documents, holding historical records, matters that have come that have been litigated before the Honorable Court. So the High Court holds a lot of meanings to us that are lawyers and to us that are conscious of who we are in this part of Africa. So to that extent, there should be an urgent and very practical effort by the government of the state. Why I say government of the state now is that this seems to be beyond the judiciary right now, to renovate that high court premises that have been burnt down. Now, if you renovate it and you have more spaces, all of this that you saw here will not be happening. You know, the multi-door courthouse, we have its own befitting place. The registrars, we have their various, the cash office and all of that. We have their various places, the commissioner of oath and all of that. So the arrangement will be befitting. You know, the works of the court that has been impeded will begin to pick up.
And what even really upset me was the fact that the multi-door courthouse was situated under a staircase. The multi-door courthouse has played a very vital role in administration of justice in Lagos State. And in fact, such a very important establishment should not be located under a staircase. And now we're doing the settlement week. People come in and they have to meet multi-door courthouse staff under a staircase, and there's no good lighting. The staff there, about 5 or 6 of them, in very unbearable conditions. It's not a good image for Lagos State, and for a judicial division that prides itself in being the premier of the justice system in Nigeria from before 1960. I think we can do better. And in fact, it's funny that a third arm of government will be violating COVID protocols within its own establishment. So it's kind of very worrisome that we have this situation currently in Lagos State Judiciary at the Lagos Judicial Division. I do not understand why we have a problem of housing the Lagos State Judicial Division of the High Court. I mean, the Lagos State government has many properties within Lagos Island. Many of its agencies have fancy buildings and fancy accommodations in Lagos Island. So I do not understand why there can't be adequate provision for a court registry, in Lagos Island.
And just before we go, let's bring you a recap of some of the top legal stories that made the news.
We begin with the report that a federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered multinational organization Shell Petroleum Company to pay the people of Ogoni in Rivers State the cost of 45.9 billion naira awarded against the company for oil spillage in the area. The court ordered that the payment be made within 21 days through the account of the lawyer to the Ogoni people, Chief Lucius Wosu. In 1990, the Ogoni people sued the multinational petroleum company over destruction caused to their farmland and water sources as a result of the spillage. On June 14, 2010, Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Lagos Division of the Federal High Court issued a judgment awarding the cost of 45.9 billion naira as compensation for the sufferings inflicted on them. But Shell Petroleum Company appealed the judgment all the way to the Supreme Court and lost. 10 years after, that judgment is now being re-echoed by this court. In Rivers State, the Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has declared that it is the state government and not the Federal Inland Revenue Service that should collect value-added tax and personal income tax in the state. The court, presided over by Justice Stephen Daliop Pam, also issued an order of perpetual injunction restraining the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Attorney General of the Federation from collecting, demanding, threatening, and intimidating residents of Rivers State to pay to the FIRS personal income tax and value-added tax. Justice Pam, who granted all the relief sought by the Rivers State government, stated that there is no constitutional basis for the FIRS to demand for and collect VAT, withholding tax, education tax, and technology levy in Rivers State or any other state of the Federation, being that the constitutional power and competence of the federal government is limited to taxation of incomes, profits, and capital gains, which does not include VAT or any other species of sales or levy other than those specifically mentioned in items 58 and 59 of the exclusive legislative list of the Constitution. The People's Democratic Party has asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to effect the removal of Governor Mai Mala Buni as governor of Yobe State through their lawyer, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Emeka Etiaba. The party asked the court to make the governor appear before it and defend whether or not he ceased to be governor by accepting to be the caretaker committee chairman of the All Progressives Congress, the APC. The party also alleged that Governor Buni has breached the provision of Section 183 of the Constitution when, as a governor, he also serves as ruling party's caretaker chairman. Staying with political issues, an application by former Imo State Governor and Senator representing Imo West, Senator Rochas Okorocha, to restrain the Imo State government and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission from confiscating his property has suffered a setback before a federal high court in Abuja. His counsel, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Obamadu Buchi, had told the court, presided over by Justice Ahmed Mohammed, that the properties of his client in various parts of the country are already being marked for confiscation and demolition. The council asked the court to issue an interim order to the EFCC and the Imo State government not to carry on with their action during the vacation period of the court. The request was, however, opposed by the EFCC and the Imo State government on the grounds that the court has no jurisdiction to hear Mr. Okorocha's suit during the vacation period. In his decision on the matter, Justice Ahmed Mohammed refused to grant Mr. Okorocha's application on the grounds that he would have to hear the motion challenging his jurisdiction to sit on the matter during vacation. Away from politics, a Lagos State Chief Magistrate Court sitting in the Yaba area has ordered the remand of Chidinma Ojukwu, the suspected killer of the Chief Executive Officer of Super TV, Osifo Ataga. The 300-level Mass Communication Department student of the University of Lagos was brought to the court alongside one Adedapo Quadri on allegations of conspiracy and murder. Their plea could, however, not be taken because the magistrate court is not constitutionally empowered to try a murder case. After listening to the police, Magistrate Adeola Adedayo ordered that the defendants be kept in prison for the next 30 days to allow for investigations to be completed and pending the release of a legal advice on the matter by the state's Director of Public Prosecution.
And that's our program this week. Don't forget that you can find these and past episodes of the program on our YouTube page. I'm Shola Shayeli. Thank you for watching and see you next week.